In May of 2011, I became the head football coach at Red Springs High School. It was my third head coaching job, but my first year going to Red Springs. The program had won just 9 games over the previous 4 seasons combined. We had a lot of work to do. As I began putting a staff together, I had a PE position available and was looking to hire a defensive coordinator. I had already targeted a young graduate assistant from a local college to bring in as my defensive coordinator. Then I got a call from Coach Joe Salas. Joe had seen the PE position I posted and was looking to make a move. We had crossed paths before through 7-on-7 and scrimmages, but we didn't really know each other well. As we sat down and talked, it became clear pretty quickly that Joe's expertise wasn't defense. His expertise was offense, more specifically, an offense called the air raid. Now, at the time, I didn't know much about the history of the air raid. I didn't know much about Hal Mumme. I didn't know much about the coaching tree that would eventually influence so much of my career and football. What I knew was this: Joe had just coached in a state championship game. He believed in what he taught, and I believed in him. I wasn't looking for an offensive coach. I was looking for the best coach, and in the end, that's what I hired. During one of our early conversations, Joe asked me a question: do you want to run your offense or do you want to run mine? That question started a journey, not because I was chasing the air raid. At the time, I was simply trying to learn from a coach I respected. But the more I learned, the more questions I had. Where did this offense come from? Why did it work? Why did so many successful coaches teach the game this way? And that curiosity led me down a path I never expected. What started with Coach Salas led me to the Tony Franklin system. It led me to Davidson College, where I learned from Matt Mumme and eventually met Coach Hal Mumme. It led me to the National Air Raid Clinic in San Antonio and to learn from Mike Leach and many of the coaches who helped shape the offense. My relationship with Ruffin McNeill went back to my playing days at Appalachian State. When East Carolina signed one of my players from Red Springs, it gave me unique access to the program and opportunities to spend time around coaches like Lincoln Riley. The journey took me to the Key West Air Raid Clinic, where I met Earnest Wilson and coaches connected to the original Kentucky and Valdosta roots of the air raid. I joined Hal Mumme's air raid system through the American Football Monthly. I built relationships through the air raid community, including coaches like Phil Longo and many others who were teaching and involving different branches of the offense. And eventually, I went from attending the clinics to hosting one myself with the North Carolina Air Raid Clinic. Every clinic, every conversation, every relationship added another piece to the puzzle. But while the journey was taking place, another one was happening at the same time. I was a teacher, a coach, an administrator, a graduate student, earning advanced degrees, studying leadership, curriculum, instruction, learning theory, and trying to understand how people learn. And over time, those two journeys began to merge: the football coach and the educator, the air raid and instruction. And then in 2019, Coach Salas invited me on his YouTube channel. One video, a whiteboard, and an iPhone, and an opportunity to share what I had learned. What started as one video became 92 Mesh Group, then Air Raid Nation, then books, courses, clinics, resources, and thousands of conversations with coaches across the country. Along the way, I had the opportunity to work with great coaches, building lasting friendships and become part of a community that had given so much to me. And over time, I realized something. Coaches don't struggle because they lack information. They struggle because information isn't the same thing as instruction. A playbook isn't a curriculum. A clinic isn't a system. And knowing something isn't the same as being able to teach it. Looking back, I never set out to become an air raid expert. I never set out to write books. I never set out to create courses. I was just trying to answer questions. Questions that started with the phone call, questions that led to clinics, friendships, opportunities, experiences I could never have imagined. And 15 years later, I'm still learning. But along the way, I've had the opportunity to study one of football's most influential offensive systems, learn from some incredible coaches, and help other coaches on their own journey. As I look back, I realized this journey was never really about plays. It was about understanding the offense, understanding how to teach it, and understanding how to help other coaches learn. Every clinic, every conversation, every relationship, every success, and every mistake added another piece to the puzzle. And over time, those pieces began to come together: the football coach, the educator, the student of the game, and the teacher of it. In many ways, it feels like coming full circle. What started with a phone call in 2011 became a 15-year pursuit of understanding the air raid. And while the journey isn't over, this chapter represents the culmination of everything I've learned along the way. 15 years of coaching, 15 years of study, 15 years of teaching, 15 years spent chasing answers, and now an opportunity to pass those lessons on to the next generations of coaches, because that's what coaching has always been about: learning, growing, and helping others to do the same.